Hello, welcome to Pike Creek Farm. My name is Renee. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're returning, I really appreciate everyone who stops in here. Tonight I am making the second in my series of warm winter dinners. It's after work, and so I want something kind of quick. And I'm doing the pantry challenge. So I'm trying to use up things that are in my fridge and my freezer and my pantry, and I had half a box of spaghetti, you know, the little size spaghetti. So I think they're a pound, so like 8 ounces. So I decided to make spaghetti pie. Not sure if you all remember that recipe. I'm not sure if it was the late 70s or early 80s, but my mom's youngest sister gave her the recipe, and I think it was kind of popular then, and I always liked it a lot. It was kind of like between spaghetti and lasagna, and it went together quicker, and it was like the quick version, and it used spaghetti noodles, or you can use any long noodles, and you mix it with eggs and cheese and butter, and that makes the crust in a pie plate, and then you have your sauce, your meat sauce, and if you want ricotta cheese or cottage cheese. I'm using cottage cheese tonight, which I don't normally do, but we didn't have any ricotta, so I'm sticking to the pantry challenge. And you bake that until the crust becomes nice and solid and everything cooks together. And then you top it with Parmesan cheese. No, Parmesan. You top it with a little bit of Parmesan and mozzarella at the end. And I had some mozzarella in my freezer that I'm going to shred up. So I thought that'd be a nice dinner. I have 4 Texas toast in there, so that have been in there for a while that need to be used up. So I'm gonna cook those, and I have some salad that I've made like a Mediterranean salad, so I'm gonna have some of that. And just, you know, or you can have green beans, or you can have a tossed salad, whatever you want with it. But I just thought it'd be a fun, warm dinner to show everyone, and something a little different. So come along, I got my apron on. We're gonna make spaghetti pie. It's a vintage recipe from the late 70s, early 80s. Preheat your oven to 350, and then cook some spaghetti noodles, like a half a pack. I'll have the recipe down below, until al dente. And then we're gonna take 2 eggs, and we're going to mix them up. The spaghetti is actually the crust of this pie. And so the eggs are the binder, and then we will be adding some other items to it also. So 2 large eggs, and blend them up. Just whisk them with a fork real quick so it's all combined. And then we're going to add that to the pot. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of salted butter. And you can see it's steaming. It's hot because you want it to be able to melt that butter. And the next ingredient will be Parmesan cheese. But first, I'm going to make sure that butter melts all the way. I should have probably chopped it into smaller pieces, but it was after work and I was tired and I was in a hurry to get dinner ready for us. So I'm just melting it in that hot spaghetti. And it doesn't take too long. And like I said, if I had cut it up, it would have been faster. And I found a little piece of the wrapper, so I pulled that out. One of those days, you know how it goes. So there, that is ready. And I'm browning venison over there on the stove. 1 pound of venison. It can be ground beef. It can be ground pork, Italian sausage. I added some garlic powder, salt, and pepper to the spaghetti to season that. It's up to you if you want to add those seasonings. I like to add some seasoning to mine. And next, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And I had a 1/3 cup measure, so I did it a little scant. Add that in there. Break up any big chunks, because you want it to blend together and incorporate. And just keep stirring it, and it will come together and be sticky. And that is actually what you want. You want it to be sticky so it will hold together as a crust. So I'm just mixing it all up here.
You can see it sticks to the spoon even. And making sure there's no big chunks of Parmesan cheese or butter and that everything melted. So now I'm going to make room so you can see me make the pie. And I'm using a deep dish pie plate from Pampered Chef actually. And I'm using a Pampered Chef tool to break up my meat. I don't sell Pampered Chef, but I really like their products. So here I am breaking up that ground venison. It's not ground beef. You can use beef, but we have a lot of venison I'm trying to use up. And next, I'm just breaking up everything, making sure it's all okay. I did season it with salt, pepper, some garlic, and now I'm adding 1 can of Hunt's sauce that I had in the pantry, and I'm trying to use up things for the pantry challenge. So I'm just going to mix this all together, and I'm going to bring you closer. Sorry about that. Make sure the meat is all even in there, and you do want it to be thick. You want it to be meat heavy. You don't want it to be a real saucy sauce. So I got my pie plate, and I am going to dump the spaghetti with all the goodies in it, the egg, the Parmesan cheese, butter, and seasonings, into that pie plate. And now I get to take a spoon, and I'm going to spread it out and go up the top, up the sides of the pie plate, and make a well in the middle. So keep working it, and it will like condense and stick together and turn into a pie crust basically. And I took out cottage cheese earlier, and I strained it is a better word, through a mesh strainer to get the excess liquid out, because I don't want it to be real watery in here. You can use ricotta too, but I had cottage cheese in my refrigerator. So here I am pressing it down, getting it all ready. And the next thing we're going to do is, there's the cottage cheese that I had drained. And now I'm adding some oregano to it. You can add basil to it or Italian seasoning, but you just want to give it some flavor. Usually I would add parsley flakes too, but I was out of parsley. So I'm adding some more oregano there to make sure it does have some flavor. I probably add about a teaspoon, I would say. Half a teaspoon. And I'm going to spread this out on the bottom. Make sure it's even all the way across. You don't want it to go up the sides too much. You want it right on the bottom of the pie crust, which is spaghetti. So I'm going to put that spoon in the sink and come back, and the next step is to scoop out the meat sauce and put it on top of that. There, you can see better now. And I could have made this a little less saucy, actually. You'll see at the end that some of the sauce did seep, like the liquid seeped through the spaghetti. Not much, though. And the next night for leftovers, you couldn't tell at all. So I'm going to put that all on there in a nice, thick, meaty layer. This is a very hearty meal. It's a nice, warm winter dinner. And so it's a pound of spaghetti with the 1 can of sauce. And I'm going to get most of that pan in there. There's going to be just some of the sauce, no meat left at the end. Don't want to waste any of that venison. And like I said, you don't have to make this with venison. It's just our choice because that's what we have in the freezer. Any ground meat would work that you have.
Here it is out of the oven. I'm letting it rest. I did have some liquid that came through, so I probably could have not made the meat as saucy so it wouldn't soak through, but that's okay. I don't mind that. And just waiting for the garlic bread now. Here it is. I'm not the best at cutting out the first piece of a pie.
Thank you so much for stopping by Pike Creek Farm, and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more videos on cooking.